Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how I made this tricolor layered buttercream cake with some accents of some edible gold leaf, some dragees, and isomalt topper. Topper and cider, apparently. So let's get right to it. I'm going to go ahead and layer or level off my cakes. I'm just using a serrated bread knife. And I kind of let the turntable do most of the work for me. I first do a score around the entire circumference, and then I just cut in slowly as I get towards the middle. And I added some simple syrup, and I'm putting a thickened buttercream dam. This is a chocolate cake, and it has a chocolate malted filling. It's so good. This is one of my boss's recipes. So I'm sorry I can't share this one. This one, I don't have ownership of that one. But it's one of the best chocolate cakes I've ever had. And then I'm just doing a crumb coat to lock in the crumbs. And I put it in the freezer to firm up. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and make the isomalt decoration. This is... I've used Isomelts a lot, and this is very similar. It's just by another brand, but I should have a link for Isomelts in my favorites list in the video description. This works the same. And so I just melted it down. You don't have to worry about temperature or anything like that. This is already you just melt it, and that's the glory of it. And I just poured it onto my silicone mat, and I'm kind of going for a shape that I can wrap around the side of the cake. So that's why it's longer on the bottom. It goes down and then over to the side. I did that intentionally for placement to make it easier. And then once it has, okay guys, use heat-proof gloves. Don't do as I'm doing here. I'm just kind of used to this. This is not the safest way to do it. But I'm waiting until it pulls away from your mat a little bit so I can play with it, but it's not going to burn me necessarily. I mean, there are some hot spots on it, don't get me wrong, but I know when I'm getting to a spot that's hotter, so I stop touching it at that point. But I'm just kind of pulling the edges, gently pulling them and reshaping them because I want it to have some flow and some kind of movement in it. And I'm using the mat, I'm kind of bunching it up in places to hold it in place while it melts. Or I'm sorry, while it firms up. What I was thinking there was if it cools too fast for you, while you're working with it, you can use a blowtorch or a heat gun and direct it at the spot you want to still work with and melt it down a little bit, and that kind of gives you a little bit more playtime. So I put those to the side to cool. And here I have my 3 colors. And the trick here for me is using those spatulas that are not as big, or scrapers. I'm using my mini scrapers and just kind of dipping them into the buttercream. And I also had put my buttercream into the microwave to soften up a little bit, maybe 5 to 8 seconds. Because this is easier to do with a softer buttercream. So you can get a thinner layer on there. And I'm just randomly applying it. And I try to go from both angles, scrape it to the left a little bit, and then scrape to the right a little bit. So you can't really tell necessarily where you stopped and started. You could do that, but you're going to have like a raised edge on one side of these different sections. And that's a look you can do too. I like that look also, but these, I just wanted them to not have as much texture. Just more a blending of colors without blending them. Does that make sense? Anywho. So I used 3 different colors of pink. I wish I could give you this darker color right here. What is that? That is a deep pink. The paler pink is just a regular, I think it's a deep pink, but less of it. I use different brands. So I'll try to find some similar colors to link for you in the description. But then I used a neon pink. Oh, that's it. The middle pink was a neon pink. The darker pink was a raspberry with a little bit of the deep pink in it. Apparently, I wanted to show you. Oh, I know why I did that. Because I had popped it into the refrigerator or the freezer in between each color so they don't blend together. But in the meantime, I showed you those pieces of isomalt once they had cooled. So that's a little trick too, is after each color, put it in the, let it chill. So yeah, that deeper color is the raspberry. That's by Color Mill. I do know that. Raspberry with some red and a bit of the deep pink in it also. And then I did the top too, because don't forget the top, guys. Not every design requires you to do the top, but there's some that I think actually it kind of elevates it a little bit. And this one is one of those. And while it is still not crusted over, I'm going to add the edible gold leaf. And this is by Barnabas Gold. I do have a link for them also. I gotta remember all these links to add. So since it is not crusted, it's going to go ahead and stick. But if your buttercream has crusted, then all you'll do is just brush a little water where you want your gold leaf, and it will stick to the water. And I'm just using my finger to tap down any pieces that haven't quite stuck real well. And just make sure that your hands are clean and dry before you do this, or wear gloves, whatever you're more comfortable with. I personally think that is a personal preference. Anywho, I wanted to go back. I did go back and added some bigger pieces also, and did some on the top. And now I'm just adding some gold dragees. And how I'm doing that is I'm just dipping my finger in water and then dipping it into the dragees and then transferring that way. And then I added some of the gold rods also. Now here I am just cutting into the cake where I'm going to put the Isomalt details. Wow, this is slow. I think I meant to speed that up a little bit. I think I recorded in the wrong mode. So now we're adding the piece to the top. That piece right there that I'm adding, I did decide to go ahead and move it. I didn't show you, but I decided to go ahead and move it back in front of the bigger piece that goes over the edge, because I felt like there was too much blank space in the middle of that bigger piece on the side. So I did move it in front of there because I knew I was going to add some gold to the edging. And then that way you'd have a more layered look. And then I'm adding the pieces to the side. Sorry, this is so slow, guys. I want to make sure that you see everything I do. And I love that topper. I think you can find those on Amazon also. I'll try to make sure that there's a link for that too. I got to remember all of these links. And now we're going to add our gold to the edge of all of the Isomalt. I think that is going to really bring it over the top and tie it all together. And what that is, it's just gold luster dust mixed with Everclear. You can see the bottle there next to me. I'm not drinking that. I promise. I would get nothing done. I'd just be laughing and then crying. So that is just for decoration purposes. And what that does is it makes the gold luster dust into a paint. The Everclear dries and it leaves the gold. So all you're left with is the gold. And you can use lemon extract or vodka or rejuvenating spirits. You can use those too. But personally, I like the Everclear because I feel like you can get it done in one coat. You don't have to go back and do a second coat. I can't speak for rejuvenating spirits because I have not found those here in the States, or that here in the States. So I don't know if that works as well as Everclear. But I know people use it. So here's our end product. Sorry about the glitch and the speed at the end. It's a little too late to change that. But I hope you got something. Hope you learned something. And please like, subscribe, and I'll do all of the things. And I'll catch you on the next one.